When the Utah Jazz beat the Denver Nuggets 123-102 on opening night, many were surprised. Nobody expected the Jazz to be competitive this year, and for good reason. They sent their franchise center and three-time Defensive Player of the Year Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and sent three-time All-Star Donovan Mitchell to the Cleveland Cavaliers shortly after. Clearly, it was a sign that the Jazz were in rebuilding mode. They were even pegged as the top 4 teams in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, as they were expected to do everything they could to objectively lose lots of games for a chance at drafting perhaps the greatest prospect the league has seen since LeBron James. Unfortunately, they didn't get the memo. As we speak, the Jazz have a winning record, and at the time of this video, good for second most in the league, just below the undefeated Milwaukee Bucks, and tied with the Phoenix Suns and the Cleveland Cavaliers. 5 of those wins have been against playoff teams from last year, with 2 coming against the Western Conference finalists Memphis Grizzlies. The question is, how are they doing this? More importantly, is this sustainable? Let's find out. If you enjoy meaningful NBA content such as this one, I highly suggest that you hit the like and subscribe buttons so you won't miss out on videos like these. With that out of the way, on to the Jazz and their hot start. Currently, the Jazz are projected to finish with a 44-38 record and a 68% chance of making the playoffs, according to 538, which is a far cry from ESPN's preseason prediction of a 12th place finish for them, and an average of 36.5 wins. 44-38 would put the Jazz as the 7th seed in the West, which would be in the play-in games. Vegas actually placed the over-under for wins at 24.5 for Utah, and if they keep up their level of play, they are on pace to shatter that. So just how are the Jazz doing it? There are 3 main reasons. The biggest one is the play of one Lauri Markkanen. Initially thought as a trade filler in the trade that sent Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs, the finisher is posting career-best averages in every counting stat except for steals, with 21.7 points, 9 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and a very efficient 51% field goal percentage. His best game so far came against Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, when he scored 31 points, grabbed 12 boards, and swatted away 4 shots, all while shooting at an efficient clip of 11 of 15 from the field and 4 of 6 from 3. In that Memphis game, he unloaded his full arsenal, showing that he can pop open threes, shoot from mid-range, finish down low with a defender on his face, and insane putbacks like this. He is blossoming into a star before our eyes, and the potential he showed when the Chicago Bulls drafted him in 2017 is slowly materializing. According to Markkanen himself, his experience playing in Eurobasket this year, where he led Finland to the quarterfinals, where he set a new Finnish national team record at a major event with a 43-point masterpiece against Croatia in the round of 16. He almost never went to the Jazz, as Mitchell was, at one point, almost certainly going to the New York Knicks instead of Cleveland. No one expected Markkanen to break out like this, not in his 7th year, but Utah is all the more grateful because of it. Another reason is the unlikely evolution of Jordan Clarkson. After landing in Utah via a mid-season trade with the Cavs in the 2019-2020 season, it became apparent that Clarkson would immediately impact the league's most struggling bench, for better or worse. On the positive side of things, Clarkson is instant offense, quickly making his impact felt as the key reserve for the Jazz, scoring 15.6 points in the year he was acquired. Clarkson didn't stop there, as he became the first Jazz player in history to win the NBA's 6th Man of the Year award for the 2020-2021 season. That season, Clarkson led all NBA reserves in scoring with 18.3 points per game, a career high, off the bench, to go along with 4 rebounds and 2.4 assists, becoming the first player since Manu Ginobili in 2007-2008 to average over 18 points. 4 boards and 2 assists as a reserve, minimum 50 games played. But he was also seen as a ball hog, with fans often complaining that Clarkson didn't pass much. Those complaints were warranted, as Clarkson ranked 8th league-wide among players with 1,000-plus minutes in the ratio of received to made passes in 2 seasons, from 2020 to 2022. To put simply, he didn't pass very much after receiving a pass himself. This season, things quickly turned around in that regard, and he has become one of the main catalysts for the Utah Jazz's shiny new brand of basketball. Jordan has posted a team-high 6 assists in 29 minutes of clutch play this season. In the 2 years spanning 2020 to 2022, JC had just 2 assists in over 54 minutes of clutch play. His vision has unlocked the Jazz offense, and it amplifies what the Jazz are able to do with their unselfish play. In this video, you can see just how Clarkson has changed his approach to offense this season. Over here, last year's Clarkson would force the layup at the break, but this year's Clarkson has the patience and vision to pass it to an open Sexton who has a clearer lane for the finish. Over here, Clarkson can be seen dishing it to a cutting Kelly Olynyk after drawing 2 defenders. His passing has been an immense part of the Jazz's dynamic offense, and the numbers show it as well. Even after the departures of top-tier talent in Gobert, elite finisher, Mitchell, elite playmaker, and Bogdanović, elite shot maker, the Jazz are posting a similar offensive rating, 118 points per 100 possessions, with Clarkson on the floor to what the team did last year with him. He's working hard on the defensive end too, as seen here as he blocks Zion freaking Williamson on the break. Is this sustainable? Clarkson's play has certainly turned heads, and according to ESPN's Zach Lowe, Utah may be unwilling to part with him after being attached to numerous trade rumors ever since they started gutting the roster. In his podcast, Lowe said that, "I've heard the same stuff that other people have reported, that they are just super reluctant to move Clarkson. They are really fond of him for whatever reason. So I would pick him as the least likely of all these Jazz guys to get traded. Is his play sustainable? Well, only time can tell. But if Clarkson continues to be an effective floor general like we've seen the past 2 weeks, Utah will continue to surprise people." Lastly, seems like everyone is brought into the system, and that's thanks to the Jazz's new coach in Will Hardy, who they hired after spending time as an assistant coach under Brad Stevens, and Ime Udoka for the Boston Celtics. Despite being a first-time head coach, it seems like he has the support of all his players, as seen in this video where they celebrated his first ever win during the season opening victory against the Nuggets. This team is very different than what we've seen in the past era of Utah Jazz basketball. They play fast, share the ball, play tough defense, and thrive in clutch situations. They look like they enjoy playing together and having fun. Each possession, there's no wasted movement. Each pass, screen, handoff, or cut has meaning, just no waste. And the same goes for the defense. The Jazz are rotating, filling lanes, and helping all on a string. They're not the best defensive team in the league, but they certainly make things hard on opposing offenses. The Jazz offense has cooled off some and sits at number 15 in the league in efficiency. What's impressive is the defense that has settled into the top 10 at number 7. These things are starting to look sustainable. Before their game against the Jazz, Dallas Mavericks head coach Jason Kidd said that the talk of tanking or playing for Victor Wembanyama is all camouflage. They've got a group over there who can play. While detractors may consider this approach foolish, it is important for the league that the competitiveness that the Jazz brings still exists, even for teams that aren't expected to make any noise come playoff time. Furthermore, Wembanyama might be the greatest draft prospect to ever land in the NBA. But mysterious things happen in the NBA all the time. He may not even pan out. There are going to be several championship impact dudes coming into the NBA next year. Utah doesn't need the first pick to get one, nor is Wembanyama actually guaranteed to be such a player. If the Jazz can compete, they should. Culture is also an important building block at building a contender.